Hey guys, it's Mopower again. I'm going to be talking to you tonight about the Huntress. She's probably one of the most played characters as far as during combat phases. Everyone likes to be able to stand back and shoot it at the bar. She has a really good kit as far as her abilities go. So let's talk a little bit about the Huntress. Something that's neat is they changed back to bows. I know in DD1 they were using crossbows and guns and grenade launchers. I really like the fact that we actually get to use a real bow. When I think of a Huntress, I think of a bow. So, the Huntress, she's a ranged hero that deals high damage to single targets. Basic attacks deal physical damage, secondary attack can be charged to deal knockback to a single target. So that's pretty neat. She has some cool abilities. She has a concussive shot, does AoE and it stuns. She has an oil flask that slows and can oil enemies, which can then be set afire by either piercing shot or fire-based towers, or fire stats on weapons can actually set them ablaze as well. So that's pretty cool. The piercing shot just pierces through multiple enemies, and it can set fire to things that are oiled. There's a couple maps I think that have oil traps that you can actually use as well with fire-based weapons or attacks, so that's nice. Or like the blaze balloon that does fire damage. So let me talk to you a little bit about the specs. You've got run and gun. It has a proc that it'll increase your running speed when you attack. Personally, I don't see a big use for this because the way the maps are designed, you can actually get up pretty high and cover most of the lanes without actually having to run around a lot. So this proc didn't really work for me. I mean, it was all right, but you can get modifiers on your boots that have the same kind of proc like this, or you can get modifiers on your boots that just have a static increase to movement speed whether you're attacking or not. And I actually prefer to do that if I can find them with the stats I need. Then you have long range. The farther away you are, the more damage you do, pretty much. So it's really nice to have on pretty much any spec. Then you have charged primary. It has a chance that when you're attacking with your primary just auto fire, that you're going to get a free secondary attack as well. And if you hold down the secondary, it charges it up, shoots it off, but you're not having to spend the time doing that. You're just auto attacking, and it just shoots one of those powerful arrows anyway. I'll show you how that looks in a minute. Fire for effect has a chance that you're going to get a second explosion on your explosive trap without using a charge. So that is nice if you're using a lot of explosive traps. I just don't use them that often. Now, Drenched. This works off both a proc on a weapon. You can get Drench procs or elemental properties on your weapon that has a chance to drench targets. But the Drench thing, what it does is when it gets drenched, it has a chance of doing more damage, any sort of damage it takes next, either your attack, a trap, things of that nature. Now, something about Drenched. If you get something drenched, either from a weapon or from the geyser trap, which I'll talk about, it goes into an electric aura, it's going to get stunned. It gets electrocuted, and so it gets a short stun, which is really nice. That's why people like geyser traps and elemental or electric auras together. So that's a pretty neat combo. Another thing to talk about is when they're drenched, you can actually get hit by other electrical damage, like a storm weapon, and I believe that'll stun them as well. So that's just neat to have. So I always have something in drenched because I do use geyser traps. I was trying to go kind of a more of a DPS with this, so I have the long range. I have this. I really like this as well. You have anti-air, and just you do more damage to air units, which is nice. So wanting to make sure I do a lot of damage to those, because a lot of times the towers are really focused on the ground units, so being able to kill the air, it really helps. So I'll probably respec out of this. Actually, I'm not going to do that now because I do enough damage now, and I'm just going to dump it all into here. Just nice to have. But as you can see, you've got these. Oh, that was a charged one. See, that's another one. So you're getting those free secondaries randomly, and they hit hard because you've got. I'll show you here the difference between these. So that one hit for 66. If I do a secondary, yeah, it's over double. So don't mind that in the corner. Anyway, The yeah. So the different abilities here. Let's talk about the abilities. This is the concussive shot. That does the stun. Then we've got the oil flask, which does some damage and slows them down, and then they can be set fire. It doesn't work on training dummies. And then you've got your piercing shot. So that's pretty cool. So let me show you what the different traps are. I'll just go over those real quick. You've got your proxy trap, your geyser trap, your poison dart tower, and your blaze balloon. I'm actually going to do it this way so you can see the front of it. Okay, so let's talk about the proxy trap. It pretty much just explodes and does AoE damage. These traps, you have to be fairly close to them from the trigger, pretty much like right next to them. That's something different from DD1. They don't cover as much area. So just make sure that you place them in areas that the mobs are actually going to be walking right over them as much as possible. So that's just something to keep in mind with the three traps. Alright, so let's look at the different design. Right now it's just a basic little kind of rock with some magma in the middle. Then you've got kind of a more ornate, holding for the cracked magma. As you go up, it gets even more badass. It's almost kind of a dragon-esque kind of claw holding molten lava. It's pretty cool. I like the look of it. It's not too, big. It's not just the dynamite on the ground, so it is kind of neat. Then you've got your geyser trap. Now what this does is it provides a lot of CC, because as the mobs hit this, they're going to get the drench property. They're also going to be knocked up in the air. So they take damage, they get knocked up in the air, plus they get that water proc. So if you combo this with the electric aura, it can really, really be nice. So as it starts off, you got a clay pot, some water in there, some mushrooms and vines. As we upgrade it, it gets a little bit bigger, more vines, more mushrooms. Then it goes up, and you've got almost like kind of an Atlantis portal looking thing. You've got more mushrooms, more vines. It's a pretty cool looking little guy. But I use that trap pretty much exclusively if I'm going to use the Huntress now. I don't use her as much as I used to, because I pretty much use Squire Cannons and Electric Auras. So this guy right here is the Poison Dart Tower. This is the actually only tower that she's got. There's 3 traps in 1 tower. This does damage over time. And it's actually, instead of a proc, like you actually have to walk over it, it's anything in this line this thing will shoot at, and it does damage over time, little like poison darts. So it is really nice if you were to angle it so that the path goes this way, or the lane, so it can shoot at all the mobs that walk through it, and they'll be taking damage over time. Just make sure you set this up kind of out of the way on the side, so that you don't have to worry about it getting attacked. So it starts off a little base here. You've got your projectiles in the front, vine on the back. But this one really has kind of a feathery eagle look, as you can see. It's got almost like some little wings on the side there, some feathers on the back, and a little bit bigger. As you go up, it gets even bigger yet. It's actually quite a large tower, big fat boy. And you've gained 2 more projectiles on the front. I think that's just for looks, but some of these, feathery supports on the side, more feathers on the back. It's pretty neat. So that's a nice tower if you can find a good use for it. Now you've got your balloon or your blaze balloon. This is pretty much your inferno trap. As you trigger this, it'll fall, break, and there'll be fire on the ground, and the mobs walk through it and they catch on fire. So that is really nice for damage over time. You just have to try to maximize the amount of time they're going to be in the trap. So if you can combo it with, like, say, a freeze tower from the apprentice, so that they stay in this as much as possible, that's good. Or put them like right in front of a wall or right on the corner. Things of that nature might help. So as it starts off, it's kind of like a little chicken thing, and it's holding this little ball with magma in it, pointy face and everything. The unique thing about this tower is you can shoot it. That works really well. Say I'm over here clearing a wave, and I see over in that lane way over there that there's a big group that's getting ready to come up to my blaze balloon. I could actually shoot across the map and hit it and trigger it so it's already burning before they start walking over there. Because, you know, otherwise you'd have to make sure a mob walks like right on it. So that's another way you can use them. So let's upgrade it. Right now it's kind of pointy, pretty basic. You know, it gets a little bigger, but the face starts getting less pointy, and this ball that it's holding gets bigger. So that's pretty neat. As it comes out again, you can see even bigger face, bigger ball. It's just bigger overall, and you know, it increases the charges each time, which is really low. They nerfed the blaze balloons not long ago because they were really overpowered, and so they really reduced the amount of charges. So I mean, there's some people at low levels that are dropping them. They've got like 7 charges or something, so you really have to watch so they don't run out. But yeah, they're a really nice trap. I don't use them that often, but I've seen a lot of people use them really well. So, alright guys, well that is the Huntress. Hope you guys enjoyed.